If you told me we'd be getting a Sonic the Hedgehog and DC crossover comic, I would be in disbelief because I did not think that would actually be the case. But hey, look at it right now. We have 2 issues currently out of the DC Sonic the Hedgehog crossover, and I'm going to cover it today for you guys because this was a really fun read, and I cannot wait to see how this 4-issue crossover concludes. But before we jump into these issues, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps and it shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel and shows you want to see me cover more comic book content like this. And who knows, I'm currently trying to read the actual IDW Sonic run, so maybe I'll make videos on that in the future. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into this astonishing crossover. So things start off pretty immediately with Apocalypse's new warship, the Ragnarok, appearing in Green Hill Zone above where Sonic, Amy, and Tails are, as they're just enjoying themselves, as all of a sudden a boom tomb opens up as a legion of parademons end up showing up to attack Sonic and pals. Sonic does his usual speedster thing, maneuvering around and taking out some of the parademons as Amy and Tails also fight them off and run away. But even more parademons come out of boom tubes, and Sonic grabs Tails and Amy as he runs off to go check on the rest of their friends. As you then check up on Knuckles as he is on Angel Island protecting the Master Emerald from more parademons, as another Ragnarok has appeared over there as well. As we see Darkseid and the Sod talking as they have come to Sonic's world for the Chaos Emeralds, and that they wish to destroy the Master Emerald, as it seems to be the only thing that can kind of keep the other Chaos Emeralds in check, which they are right. Knuckles is beating down on one of the parademons, as once he gets on top of the Master Emerald, Darkseid decides to launch an attack on Angel Island to destroy the Master Emeralds. Before Knuckles gets taken out and the Master Emerald destroyed, someone shows up to save Knuckles at the very last minute. The Chaos Emerald shatters and Angel Island collapses to the bottom of the sea. We then cut to somewhere else as Sonic leaves Amy and Tails, as he then meets up with the Flash, who confuses him for someone called Crackle, which I haven't been reading comics for incredibly long, but apparently it's some electrical super speed character from, like, I believe the Silver Age or Bronze Age of comics, which I believe Wally West Flash met. I think, correct me in the comments down below, which could possibly mean that this version of the Flash is Wally West Flash, which would be really cool because I love Wally West. But once Sonic and Flash end up talking to each other, essentially they kind of have a bit of a speed measuring contest as Sonic and Flash just race and try and see who's the fastest as they take on more parademons. We then cut to seeing Silver taking on a parademon, but is actually assisted by John Stewart Green Lantern, who I grew up with Justice League, the animated series, and Justice League Unlimited. John Stewart was my first introduction to the character of Green Lantern, and he's my favorite. I might be biased, but John Stewart's my favorite Green Lantern, 100%. Call it nostalgia bias, but it is what it is. But he helps Silver take on these parademons and help the civilians. Down in an alley, a mother and child are being chased by a parademon, and Shadow the Hedgehog appears alongside Batman as they both punch him in the back and knee the parademon in the skull. Honestly, if you're gonna be in a back alley, you're gonna have Batman show up at some point. And I love the instant the parademon falls to the ground, Batman and Shadow just look at each other and fully understand the situation and just run off to fight more parademons. More Apocalypse creatures appear with a giant robot this time to where Amy and Tails are, as it's then that Tails and Amy try to fight it, but then the lasso of truth goes around its head as Cyborg ends up hitting it in the chest, as Wonder Woman and Cyborg now meet Tails and Amy. But in that instance, Kalibak, one of Darkseid's generals, appears on the ground to challenge Wonder Woman to a fight. But before he realizes it, Knuckles bonks him on the back of the head with a clean punch, knocking him back. As Knuckles tries to get some answers out of him, Superman, as Kalibak is trying to get up, Superman just appears and just plunges him deeper into the ground, completely knocking him unconscious. I kind of like this brief interaction with Knuckles as Knuckles tells Superman that he wasn't done with them yet, and Superman just like, well, he's out for the count now, sorry about that. You kind of solved him up for me, which Superman is the most modest person in the world. I kind of love the guy. But now that they are in the area, it is fully confirmed that Soups ended up saving Knuckles from getting destroyed by Darkseid's attack alongside the Master Emerald, with Knuckles telling them that he would have been blown up alongside the Master Emerald and Angel Island if Soups didn't interfere, and this is how we learn for the Sonic team that Angel Island is gone. Batman and Shadow show up as Batman says that there is a lull in the invasion and that they need to kind of come up with a plan, as Shadow wants answers first to explain who everyone is and what those monsters are and why they're here. And of course, the last ones to show up to this group group meeting are the two resident speedsters, as they're just literally trying to brag over who was the fastest person here. Now Team Sonic and the Justice League are together, as Sonic kind of just wants a rundown of the situation, as Superman ends up introducing every member of the Justice League, which honestly, when you have crossovers like this, you're gonna have a lull in the story to kind of have proper introductions. And obviously this is probably meant to also kind of introduce Sonic readers if they want to jump into DC Comics if they don't already know these iconic characters, but you gotta have these moments anyway because it makes sense. And Sonic also introduces Team Sonic essentially to the rest of the Justice League, but Knuckles ends up saying that who's responsible, we have to make them pay for what happened, as Cyborg gives the rundown of who Darkseid is and why they're here, saying how his life's mission is to find the anti-life equation, and that he seemingly came here to find something to subvert the usual scope of power for his conquests that's outside of the usual bounds of their multiverse. And by doing so, Darkseid came to Sonic's dimension, and Cyborg managed to track them since he had Darkseid's technology embedded in his own tech, so they came here to help. Silver immediately points out that what they're after is most likely the Chaos Emeralds, as Tails briefly explains that the Chaos Emeralds are gems that house unlimited amounts of power. And the Justice League confirms that if he does get this, then Darkseid's definitely going to be a bigger force to be reckoned with and will definitely be a major issue. Wonder Woman asks if there's a way to counter the Chaos Emeralds, but Darkseid blew it up, which obviously the Master Emerald was the way to kind of counteract the Chaos Emeralds and kind of help control them. So now they have to find the Chaos Emeralds before Darkseid does. Superman suggests coming up with a plan, but Shadow has enough of it and just wants to go and deal with it himself, as Superman tries to say everyone's input is valid, but Batman offers to go to Shadow. And honestly, this is probably the edgiest talk between two of the edgiest characters in fiction, but also kind of a heart-to-heart, which I never knew I wanted to see, but hell, I'm all for it, and I kind of love it. You know what? I'm just gonna read this dialogue and situation and scene just straight 100% because I like this. Batman comes to the alley and asks Shadow, "Who was it? The one who you couldn't protect. The one you watched die in front of you." As Shadow asks, "How did you know?" As Bruce and just says, "For me, it was my parents. I was too young, too weak to do anything. The pain, the anger never leaves you. I see it in you too." As Shadow says her name was Maria. "She was gunned down trying to protect me. Me, the ultimate life form." As we get a brief image of the military with a gun pointing towards Shadow, as Batman tells him, "I swore to never let it happen again. To protect the city my parents loved. To protect their world. I will use every advantage at my disposal. That includes the Justice League. You're a valuable asset in stopping Darkseid. Likewise, we'd be valuable to you." As Shadow passes Batman, saying, "I see, you better be worth the trouble." I like that. I really do like that interaction. It was pretty fun. But back to Tails and the rest of Justice League. Tails is saying how they could track the rest of the Chaos Emeralds since they have experience finding them, but they've never had to find them on such a tight deadline, and so he's already been developing a tracking system in his workshop, and Tails says it is a quantum mapping algorithm, but it's not out of beta yet, as this catches Cyborg's attention. And so, since they don't have time to wait for the radar to be completed, everybody decides to split up and go and search for the emeralds themselves. Tails and Cyborg will go off to Tails' lab to fix the tracker, all while Superman and Knuckles team up to search for the emeralds. Wonder Woman and Amy team up to find the emeralds. Obviously Shadow and Batman on their cool ass bikes are going to be looking for the emeralds alongside Silver with the Green Lantern. And then finally we have Sonic with the Flash, as Sonic essentially ends up guessing where they should search first, and he got it right on the first try. As once they make it to Green Hill Zone, we see Darkseid, and he has found the first Chaos Emerald, ending the first issue. Nice introductory issue. We get the Justice League showing up, showcasing what they can do briefly against the Parademons, while also showcasing what Sonic and friends can do against the Parademons, and that they're actually capable of dealing some actual damage, and showcasing just how strong these characters are, at least for the purposes of this crossover, and also while Darkseid is here. But let's just move on to issue 2, as we start with Chaos Crisis Part 2, with Darkseid holding the blue Chaos Emerald. And so the two of them decide to take on Darkseid by themselves. Sonic and Flash head towards Darkseid, trying to kick and weave around him and grab the emerald, but Darkseid has a tight grip on it and throws Flash into Sonic as they fall down to the ground. Darkseid towers over them and launches Omega Beams to chase after Sonic and Flash. And so in order to shake these, since these are homing lasers, Flash tells Sonic to go up while he goes down. And as they both go in their own separate directions to dodge, they cause the 2 Omega Beams to cancel out. But in that instance, Darkseid opens up a boom tube and escapes back to the Ragnarok. Flash signals the Justice League saying that Darkseid already found an emerald, and kind of takes the time to throw a jab over at Sonic, saying that he wasn't fast enough to stop him, which I like their banter already. I love these two species just hitting at each other with jabs to just say who is the fastest and who's the slowest. I never expected to really want that, but I love it. The rest of the teams haven't found any progress with the emeralds at the moment, but Tails and Cyborg are almost done finding locations for them. We cut back to the Ragnarok as Darkseid appears in front of the Side, as Darkseid appears with the emerald, but the Side apologizes to Darkseid as he could not find the other emeralds at the moment. As the Side goes on to explain that the reason why he only found one but not the others is that it's the nature of their power. They're chaotic, unruly, almost as if they're actively trying to hide from the Father Box. Darkseid says that the Justice League arrived on this world and that they'll undoubtedly make matters more complicated. So Darkseid has them send his elite warriors to scour the globe and find the Chaos Emeralds. And he'll apply the current emerald to his dimensional engine to see if all this effort was worth it. And just like clockwork, Tails and Cyborg finished the tracker and found locations of the other 6 emeralds, telling the rest of the team to go out and find them. But Batman brings up an interesting point that they should probably come up with a contingency plan in case they fail. Superman, being the optimist, says they won't fail. They'll get these 6 emeralds and get the one that Darkseid has, stopping him. But Wonder Woman agrees with Batman, saying worst comes to worst, they need a way to get out of there if things get dirty. But Cyborg says that he actually has an emergency boom tube prepared to send them directly back to their dimension to the Watchtower as an immediate exit strategy in case things go south. Now, John actually brings up another interesting point that that's not enough to evacuate the planet and if they can do better. But Superman says that they'll rise to the occasion like they always do and that they should have faith in their new friends. We then go out and see that every group has encountered members of Darkseid's army and his elite warriors who have all most likely either found Chaos Emeralds or were about to find Chaos Emeralds. And I like that we got all these standoffs with all these different groupings and quick images of these fights. But obviously the cooler looking one is Batman in shadow staring down Steppenwolf, as Steppenwolf is literally giving them the option to take him on, as he thinks it's enough to take out a mammal and an unpowered man. Batman throws an exploding batarang to, for an instant, blind Steppenwolf, and in that distraction, Shadow goes up to him, touches the red Chaos Emerald that he's holding, and uses Chaos Control to quickly stop time and just basically do a Jotaro Star Platinum Aura. If you don't know what that means, if you're not an anime fan, but like, it's a JoJo's reference in my opinion, but he just hits Steppenwolf with a barrage of punches during stopped time. Shadow explains he stopped time, and Batman says that'll be useful against Darkseid, and before Shadow brags saying, well, of course it's gonna work, I'm the ultimate life form, they feel a rumbling as lights of electricity begin to connect and converge all across the globe where each League member is. As you then see that Darkseid is in his engine room, saying that the legendary power of the emeralds is legit and space and time is beginning to warp. With just this one, I could mutilate the world. With all 7, I could probably mutilate the entire universe. Batman radios Superman and the rest of the League, saying that they have to go back and take on Darkseid, shift their focus. But there's no way for them to make it there in time. I mean, well, maybe Superman can, as long as with Flash and Sonic perhaps, but not everybody. It's then that something unexpected occurred. Dr. Eggman appears with his giant battleship offering to help, as he wants to conquer the world. He doesn't want this to happen, and so he offers to ride everybody to Darkseid's home base so that they can stop him. I like this brief interaction where Sonic just introduces Dr. Eggman as a brilliant scientist that loves robots and is constantly in his way, and Flash bring up, oh, and he's bald too. Soups has one of those, obviously referring to Lex Luthor. And I like how it's obvious that Eggman is most likely going to betray them later, but they kind of ran out of options. They need his help at this instance. Full disclosure, I think this was just a way to just put Eggman in the story. They all could have gotten to where Darkseid was most likely with the help of just Superman and the Flash, but if you want to bring the whole team, makes sense. Anyway, we cut to Eggman's ship just ramming right into Darkseid's Ragnarok as the League jumps out and they start just wasting all of these parademons, heading to Darkseid's location, with Sonic and Flash making it there first. And as they try to run after him, Darkseid launches his Omega Beams, hitting Superman. And so, in this instance, everybody ends up ganging up on Darkseid, as we get multiple pages of not just Superman clan with Darkseid, but John Stewart and Silver hitting Darkseid with psychic energy and constructs. Darkseid getting tied up with the lasso of truth, and Shadow using Chaos Control to attack Darkseid. But it seems Chaos Control didn't work, as Darkseid managed to understand what Chaos Control was by studying the Emerald. And so he gets himself unleashed from the lasso and knocks Superman's Shadow away along with Knuckles. Sonic and Flash go off to take on Darkseid. Flash tries to get him off balance and just destroy the machine, while Sonic goes off to try and take the Emerald out of Darkseid's clutches, but it's not working. Darkseid tries to launch Omega Beams at Flash as he's breaking through the engine to try and essentially take the machine down. But Flash is just trying to work as best as he could with a machine he's unfamiliar with to try and dismantle from the inside, as Green Lantern and Silver try to shield him with Cyborg's help. Darkseid knocks back the rest of the team as Cyborg and Flash then get pulled out of the machine. But the machine is somewhat sentient and starts to just scream with an intense amount of energy. Tails says that the Dimension Engine is destabilizing and time and space aren't going to mean anything in about a minute. Darkseid tries to bend the machine to his will, but Superman tries to stop Darkseid from gaining control, and so they try and hold him back. It's then that Green Lantern gets all of Team Sonic in his ring and puts them in a construct. Batman calls for the boom tube and says, "We're putting our faith in you." Cyborg opens a boom tube, and with that, all of Team Sonic are plunged from their universe over to the universe of the Justice League, where they meet Mr. Terrific, who is standing on the opposite side of the boom tube, as they're wondering what's going on and if they can get back to their world. But Terrific says that he can't. There's no coordinates for their dimension, and that it seems that the world that they came from is gone. Darkseid, the Justice League, everything seems to be gone. As the second issue ends with all of Team Sonic on the Watchtower on the Justice League's Earth. And that ends issue 2 and seemingly the first part of this insane crossover. Honestly, the action, while short, was incredibly enjoyable. The art was great. I love the style the Justice League are in this comic, and I really want to go and just read the Sonic comics now because it just looks like a hell of a lot of fun, and I love Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'm probably going to start trying to binge read those comics as well. And I have a lot of backlog of Justice League and DC comics to get through, but I am currently covering right now most of the Absolute DC titles, so if you're interested in DC, check out the Absolute videos that I'm currently doing. I'm up to date with Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Flash, Absolute Martian Manhunter, and right now, Absolute Batman, if you want to see that. But yeah, this crossover is honestly really fun, and I cannot wait for the next issue to come out towards the end of May. But what did you guys think of this crossover? Do you want me to cover the next 2 issues either one at a time or in a big video like this? Let me know in the comments section down below, and if you're a Sonic fan or not. And if you haven't already, once more, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. With all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.